Tervepä terve. This time I'm gonna talk you... Tervepä terve. This time I'm gonna tell you a little bit about this solo project from Finland. This one is called Infirmum, and this is the debut album called Walls of Sorrow. And here you have this cover, which, I don't know, reminds me of fantasy games or fantasy movies, whatever. Fantasy in general. Not fantasy general. And here is the main man of the band. That is basically the only member of the band. Timo Solonen, which is mentioned here. All music, all songs composed by him and so forth, with a little help from other guys. And he's more of an old school guy in so many ways, or that's what I've been told in a way. See, he's not that much of a younger generation, but kind of a graybeard guy willing to challenge the youngsters with his own solo project, which then again focuses on doom and death metal. And this is the debut album by his very own band. Just came out, I think, in end of February. And pretty nice design overall. And actually one of those better solo projects, which are so often something not exactly good ones. So here you have the basic information about the band. As you can see, founded in 2019 basically. It was usually before it had a different name, but that's beside the point basically here. As you can see, released singles earlier and then went on to full-length album. And here you have the only member here, except there he's mentioned a little bit bass helping the man. Now, it doesn't say anything about drums, and to be honest, I'm not sure even if if they're mentioned here. Well, yeah, they are actually. So probably should have checked it out before. It says Julius Lehtonen that did the drums, and it makes sense because they don't really sound like drum machine or anything like that. And here you have the links, obviously, to Bandcamp page, Facebook, whatever. And similar artists tab is still empty, and I can actually understand pretty well why. Now the music of Infirmum is labeled as doom death, and that's exactly what it says here as well. Basically it's doom metal, being slow tempo and kind of a doomy, somewhat melancholic atmosphere, and in a good way I might add. But since it's scrolly vocals and, well, one could even say that some of the riffs are rather death metallic, it makes sense it's labeled as doom death. Now sometimes the line between doom death and traditional doom death is kind of a blurry, you know, but let's not get into that. Let's just talk about this album called Walls of Sorrow. Being 48 minutes lengthy or long, it has 10 tracks here, which, as you can pretty much figure out, are more or less 4 or 5 minutes overall per song, and that is, I think, something that it's a good thing when we're talking about this genre. Now, so often I get to hear albums that have like 8, 10, 12, 15 minutes, you know, per song, and it seems to me that usually these composers are not able to keep it all well composed. I mean, they just go like wandering about, and in the way of that wandering moments, they kind of lose the idea like what this song was all about. You know, you kind of lose the momentum, so to speak. You lose the kind of structure of the song, and it's not luckily happening here. But on the contrary, Infirmum kind of keeps it not exactly compact, but keeps it in a way that it, you know, you can actually feel the kind of a song starting and ending before you get bored of it. And that is, in my opinion, very much why so many classic songs are rather short. Now in doom metal it's often seen as a like, hey, you just have to have this length, you have to just kind of build up the whole song, but I kind of disagree. When you have certain amounts of good riffs, and usually songs don't have 25 good riffs, more like 3, 4, 5 maybe, you really can't expand too much or else will become boring. And this is something that Infirmum has avoided. You know, keeping the songs mostly under 5 minutes. It makes sense, you know, and they are easy to kind of enjoy and then just digest and move on to a different track, and then again also enjoy that stuff. Now, also what is important in this album is that even though all the songs are carved from the same stone, that is, it's all doom and death, they still have a little bit variety between the songs. Some songs, for example, have lead guitars that remind me of older Sentenced. Some remind me of old Paradise Lost. And some are totally different. And lead guitars, mind you, make a huge impact on this album. Some of them are just superior. Unfortunately, there are not too many of those, but some of them are almost giving me the chills, you know, because they are so goddamn good. Now I only wish there were more of those than just a few. Now, these lead guitars, like I said, they make a big impact because, you know, lots of those basic riffs with Doom Death, they're just, you know, kind of build the general feeling, the kind of a foundation of the songs, if you will. And lead guitars, you know, kind of dive into splash a little bit of color here and there and just kind of underline what this song is all about, at least in terms of atmosphere, not so much about lyrics. Talking about lyrics, the vocals which are here are one of the dominating factors why this is called Doom Death, because they're growly. But they are more on the less aggressive side. That is, it's much like these kind of a raspy, growly vocals are as if you had a little bit problems with your throat. That is, it's like as if they were shouted so much that you kind of lose your voice a little bit. And that's one of the reasons why I think these vocals sound a little bit too monotone, in my opinion. I mean, there could be more variety with those as well. So they are quite okay, but not exactly good, in my opinion. And that's the only thing where I wish there was more improvement to be done. In general, production is pretty nice and it supports the music just nicely. So this is very easy to enjoy, that is, if you are into Doom Death in the first place. Now, comparing this kind of band, where it's only basically one member creating all the songs and lyrics and so forth, comparing it to other big names in the genre, such as My Dying Bride, it feels a little bit unfair. But then again, everybody has to start from somewhere, and all the albums, all the releases, all the bands are in so many ways compared to each other. Now, would I say that Infirmum plays on the same level as My Dying Bride? Nope, but then again, these are two different kind of bands, where other is more gothic, kind of a death doom. I mean, still having growly vocals, but more on the clean side. Infirmum is more the kind of a traditional stuff, so you would rather compare this to early My Dying Bride than the current days. So it's definitely more deathy, not so much gothic. But pure death doom is, I think, very justified subgenre definition for this band and this particular album, at least. So in case you just happen to be a fan of the genre, do check it out. It's quality music in its own subgenre, and even though there are lots of smaller things left for improvement, this is still a good debut album that you should be checking out. Thank you for watching. Should you have any comments or questions, put them on the comments box below and I'll get back to you. Bye bye.